So lots of updates today within the true crime community, cases that have sat unresolved for almost a decade. The first one that comes to mind is Suzanne Morphew. So on September 27th, 2023, the El Paso County Coroner's Office, remember she went missing out of Colorado, positively identified remains that were found in a separate, unrelated search as Suzanne Morphew's. Now, Suzanne went missing in May of 2020. She was not reported missing initially by her husband. She was reported missing by a neighbor because the husband, Barry Morphew, had asked the neighbor to go check to see if Suzanne was home because he wasn't able to get a hold of her. As the investigation progressed, Barry became a person of interest. It's not too terribly uncommon that the spouse often does become a person of interest. But as the investigation unfolded and they searched the residential home of Barry and Suzanne, they discovered evidence that demonstrated Suzanne was having an affair with a high school classmate. This initially took some attention off of Barry because they believed like, oh, maybe the classmate had something to do with this, but the classmate had an alibi and also said that the reason he didn't come forward initially was because he was trying to preserve Suzanne's reputation for her children and her family. He eventually cooperated with police and offered a lot of information that eliminated him as a suspect. Then in 2021, Barry was charged with Suzanne's murder. He had also done a video pleading for information. A lot of people found it to be a little unnerving, gave them kind of Chris Watts vibes. I'll be playing that right after so you can determine for yourself how you would feel. After the video and all of these things and other evidence that they found, Barry was charged with Suzanne's murder, but unfortunately, shortly thereafter, I believe in 2022, all of the murder charges against Barry were dropped because of lack of evidence. Who knows if this discovery of Suzanne's remains changes that for Barry, because even though the charges were dismissed, it does not preclude the prosecution from coming back and charging him again now that new evidence has been discovered. And I'm really thinking about Suzanne and Barry's children because they're having to grapple with the fact that their mother's remains were just found, and also with the potential media storm that's going to come, that's going to focus on their father being a suspect and a person of interest in this case, despite his protestations that he's innocent. It's just how the media works, and it's unfortunate. And I hope that they are taking care of themselves and that they have a strong sense of family around them that is hopefully helping them. Then within the Bardstown case, if you're not familiar with that, highly recommend listening to the Bardstown podcast. But Crystal Rogers, whose cases remained unsolved for almost a decade, if not longer, has finally received some type of justice, or is on the track to receive justice. A man was just arrested for her murder. Then her ex-husband, who was always believed to be a person of interest, and despite the weird things that were happening in Bardstown, or the alleged corruption that was going on within the police department and collusion that was likely going on in the police department, allegedly, have to say that, her ex-boyfriend and the father of her children, Brooks, was arrested for her murder. So maybe we'll be seeing some positive news come out and see if Suzanne's murder, because the coroner, again, has not given any information as it relates to cause of death or anything like that. So hopefully, if her cause of death was as a result of homicide, the person who committed that crime is brought to justice and Suzanne and her family receive justice. And then also justice for Crystal is hopefully coming, and maybe even for the others who were affected by the Bardstown murders.
Out there that can hear this, that has you, please, we'll do whatever it takes to bring you back. We love you, we miss you, your girls need you. No questions asked. However much